from Pop Turn speaking to Isa Briones about Goosebumps, which is streaming on Disney Plus and on Hulu. Welcome to the show. It's so good to see you.
Hi, nice to see you.
You know what? This is so crazy because there's a lot at play here, and I just feel like from an acting storytelling perspective, when you sign on to a project like Goosebumps, there's familiar territory and unfamiliar territory. There's the kind of source material, the books, the movies and everything, the shows, but then these are different characters. This is the new show on Goosebumps on Disney Plus. So, like, do you think about that? Because you know what's going on, but at the end of the day, you don't know what's going on, right?
Yeah, no, I think for this was like it's bridging the gap of like, okay, we know what this is. We've read the books. We know kind of the source material, but it's a brand new perspective, and I think it's very much what's cool about it is it feels very relatable to teenagers today. And it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, when we were teenagers reading it, life was a bit different, but the kids today who are like 16 are experiencing very different worlds, social media, all sorts of things, and like that kind of brings the original Goosebumps into today.
I think one of the coolest things about this show is the fact that I feel like a lot of boxes are ticked with Goosebumps on Disney Plus, where I feel like you have the nostalgia, like you mentioned, but you also have the creepy, spooky season component of things. Then you have the coming of age and all these kind of things and everything, the mystery component of it. Is there an element that you like the most in terms of filming this? Because reading the script, you're going to see it all come at once. But like, what did you like the most about it, element-wise, filming the show?
That's a great question. I really think I love how funny it is. I
Yes.
mean, obviously there's spooks, and there's also a lot of like um heartfelt moments, a lot of just everyone all of the characters really relating to each other, and I think the character development is beautiful.
Yes.
But above all, we just had so much fun because we had the Rob Letterman and Nick Stoller really allowed us to improv and make everything our own and like add ourselves to the characters and to the script. And so I think especially with comedy legends like Justin Long, Rob Hubel, Rachel Harris, like we got to watch them do their thing. Like I grew up watching those people, and they informed to me what comedy is.
Yep.
And so then getting to work with them and getting to kind of build something like that together, that was the most fun. Because also I think you don't always expect that with something that's
Totally.
here like Goosebumps, or if there's comedy, oh, people were afraid like it was gonna be too childish or whatever. And it's like, no, it's like good funny.
You know, I'm wondering if it's all storytelling for you, or is there different mindsets working in sci-fi, like Star Trek, and working on this? Like, are there kind of like things you could bring to that to this, or vice versa, or is it all kind of like mindsets are a little different, so to speak?
I mean, yes and no, like everything is similar and different, but I think I think definitely going into this having a background in like genre work,
Yeah, and the
coming
scale of
from.
these projects too,
Yeah.
right? Like, yeah.
No, it's like huge scale. You're working with a lot of effects. You're working with it gets very technical, and I think there's something that there's you know work that is beautifully reliant on just script and character. That is amazing, but it is a whole other level, and just it harder in some ways to be uh dealing with all the logistical aspects of it. It's like you
Yeah.
have to deal with there's a crane moving through the sky. Oh, you have to act like you're falling into an abyss and like stuff like that. So I think I felt very prepared in certain ways because of Picard to go into something like this. And I think in a cool way, because for some of the other actors in like the five of us, it was their first time doing something more sci-fi like or horror
Totally.
like, so
Yep.
they kind of would defer to me and be like, is this normal, like how do you do this? And it was cool to feel like I had something to lean on in that way. But also horror is just it's different. It's so different.
It's like a great time for it too. Like, what's it like working in that kind of genre? Like with the lens of like it being very kind of big right now because it's always been around, right? But like, you see like spooky
Yeah.
season and like everyone's going crazy and like watching everything. What's it like working on it at a time where there really is like an appetite for that content?
Well, I think horror has always been a very interesting way to look at just the human psyche, human condition. It's all very human stories. And horror has always been a very interesting way to look into like the psychology of people.
Yeah,
In
people are scary.
yeah, people are scary. And we use it truly. Like we use dolls or puppets or monsters or whatever to examine it. But like at the end of the day, it's like people are the scariest thing.
Yeah,
and, and I think what's so cool about something like Goosebumps, it's like it's examining how far would you go for something that you want so badly.
yeah.
It's like it really Slappy has preyed on people who wanted something so badly, who wanted fame, success, or who wanted something. And it breaks that down and what that like draw is like and how far you go, how evil you could go. And I think that is just a very relatable thing because I think even the most evil character you see, you can go like, I can see it. Like I can see that in me. Like I wouldn't do that. But it makes you examine yourself like, would I go there? Would I
Well,
make that decision
the
to
self
want to
reflection, the self reflection
exactly.
component, right? Absolutely, and like the
Yeah.
misunderstood component. Don't get me wrong, there were some characters in this show that like I was just like they're the worst. Like I mean, they're
Yeah. Oh yeah.
but like that's a good segue to my next question because you know a lot of my questions involve like I love the mindsets of like going in and like making something so amazing like this because there's so much kind of hard work and thought from everyone put into a show like Goosebumps and we have to celebrate it on Pop Tart and really talk about that, you know what I mean? So the journey of it being like in like your character and all these characters being in the script and then it kind of going on screen interests me. So I'm like, what's that? What can you tell me about the journey of kind of seeing it on script and then going and filming it and seeing it kind of translate on the screen in Video Village? Like, what's that like for you
Yeah.
specifically?
No, that's a great question. I think for me, the beautiful thing of when I first read the first episode, of course, what the first episode was when I
Yeah,
saw it, but you know, it's changed a lot. It goes through a lot of edits and but when I first read it, I was a little nervous
yeah,
because you never know when you're rebooting something or reimagining something that has such a fandom too. It's like you could really mess this up and so there's a lot of pressure on that and I definitely went into reading it like I don't know, maybe this will be good, maybe this won't be. And as soon as I read it, the tone
yeah,
was so clear and I think also for actors it's a dream come true to read something, read a character and be like, "Oh, I know this character right away." Like I hear her voice, I know who she is. And that was kind of what reading Margot or Jane at the time was like for me. Um, and I think, yeah, there was just something about, and the way they assembled a huge shout out to the casting office because, oh my God, they really, they knocked it out of the park. I don't know
yeah.
how, because all of us, we are five, like for us five kids, we talk about it a lot where we're like we're a lot like the characters where the five of us wouldn't have necessarily found each other if it weren't for this. Like we kind of run in different circles, we have different vibes, we're very different people, but together somehow it just works so well.
Mhm,
And I think that too, once the five of us were in a room together,
mhm.
we just immediately knew what the vibe was and we knew the tone of the show. And I
Yeah,
think the creators noticed that. We had initial like rehearsals when we first got to Vancouver and they started kind of changing plot lines based on our chemistry and watching us being like, actually, no, they make a better pair. Like, oh, this works. Or like, oh, let's follow that storyline. And I think all of that, it was just so natural the way
yep.
it came that it translated to screen in a very natural way. And I think you feel that. You can tell that our chemistry is real. And yeah, it was just crazy to watch it and be like, oh my God, like we made that.
We
And
did.
it feels like how it felt. Like we
Yeah.
can feel, we're like, oh my God, that feels like that day in October when we filmed that. Like I feel it as I'm watching it.
It's so great. And in that kind of age of, content being disseminated all the time, and we're watching so much content, there's different ways we're watching it, right? You said there's like the binge where everything drops, you watch it all. You have Goosebumps where, week after week a new episode comes out, and I love that because it's like it creates like dinner table conversations and theories and everything. So, two-part question for you. What was it like kind of seeing all of the theories and kind of things week to week, like on social media and on the internet and everything? And then B, did you all have like theories about what was going to happen as well, like within the cast in the show?
Yes. And yes. No, as even before the show came out and we were seeing just it's so funny to look on social media and see what people are just surmising from simply looking at the poster, or if like a little behind the scenes picture was leaked and they're like, oh, this means this, and just seeing fans try to create some story out of it. And sometimes people were right on the money and sometimes people were way off, but it was fun for us because we're just like, look at all of them go. Like
I bet the group chat was buzzing with some of these. Like
our group chat remains buzzing. No, but we definitely would all just send each other like, oh my God, they think that you're like the werewolf at that's not even close to correct.
It's crazy when they're right though, right?
No, but when they're right, they were like, oh, I think, and when people were just kind of like, oh, bringing up Kondu and Fluffy, bringing up the dog, not Fluffy, Fifi. Just, oh my God, these people are really putting it together.
Great fans, global fan base too. I've noticed like fans from all around the world.
People love it. It's such a beautiful little niche and I love it so much. But when we were filming, because they were kind of writing as they were going, and it wasn't, we weren't always privy to what was going on. Like we had no idea what episode 9 and 10 were. And so we kind of would be like, what do you think is going to happen? I mean, with obviously like spoilers to the end, a big thing happens. Someone looks like they've died. When we found out about that, we were like, wait, what? And a creator kind of told us this kind of offhand. It was me, Zack, and Will together. And we were just like, so like, what is, we were filming.
So what's going on?
We were in the snow. We were just like, what do you think what's happening in episode 10? And she's like, oh, it's great. She's like, yeah, Isaiah like dies. And we were like,
what?
Oh, and Will and I immediately were like, oh, okay. And this is horror. Somehow he's going to come back. Like, we were like, oh, this is cool. And she's like, yeah, you come back. Like, it's fine. But Zack in that moment, all he heard was Isaiah died. And so he was just like, oh, and went like spiral.
Was this like the Whistler? Like this was like
Whistler.
Yeah, where it was apparently like really cold.
No, we were freezing. So his brain had shut down. He was just like, oh. And we were like, no, dude, like she just said, like, you come back. Like it's a whole storyline. And he was like, and all he heard was Isaiah dies. And he just fully
oh my God.
Checked out. But later, finally, he was like, okay, yeah. He kind of heard from the rest of the team, like, no, it's this storyline. He was like, okay. But no, we kind of were very in the dark, and just kind of every new script we'd like read it in the makeup trailer and be like, guys, did you read the new one?
But the fans sometimes just assume that you know everything. Like a fan could like send you a message and be like, what, like all this, and you're like, great, like I have no idea.
But truly, I love what now when people are messaging being like, make sure there's a season 2, and I'm like, do you think I have power over that?
That's just like the whole
keep on streaming. That's how you make that happen.
Oh no, for sure. And people can watch it. All the episodes are streaming on Disney Plus and Hulu, so they can check it out. That's Goosebumps. Issa, so great chatting with you. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you so much, Petey. Have a good one.
Yeah, absolutely. Instagram is just Issa Briones, right? If they want to keep updated with everything, or is it like a dot?
Issa Camille Briones.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, this has been Pop Turd at youtube.com/PopTurd for previous episodes. Until next time, this is Isa Briones from Goosebumps and Peter Beats signing off.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.